Welcome back to my channel, to another episode of Aragon Always Assists. So in this episode, we'll be covering farming, and he'll be bringing to you guys the most comprehensive farming guide you can get at this moment after Adventure has been revamped from the 3rd anniversary. So without further ado, let us begin. So these are the 5 things that we'll be covering today: fodder, hot time and boost mode, timing, choosing the right farmer and map, and lastly about automated farming. So before I begin, we need to tackle one very important question, which is what is farming exactly? So for farming, it is actually the leveling up of heroes from 1 to 30 and thereby getting 3 rubies per hero level up. So if you have a new hero that you have never obtained before previously and you level it up from 1 to 30, you actually get 5 rubies. So you farm by having 4 fodder and 1 DPS and putting them in either of these formations, and then you queue the skills needed to clear the stages accordingly on the skill queue menu. So we're talking about fodder. So the first important thing that you need to note is how to actually get fodder. So fodder can of course be obtained through adventure as you go along, which means you will probably have leftover from your previous adventure runs. And not only that, you can also get fodder from Castle Rush store, by the 2 to 6 star hero, veteran hero ticket, which only costs very cheap cost of 5 Castle Rush points. The next place you can get will be the Celestial Tower shop, where you can spend 5,000 gold crystals to get 3 to 6 star hero tickets. Okay, so this is also pretty cheap, okay, because gold crystals are quite abundant from Celestial Tower loot and drops. Okay, so the next place you can actually get fodder, of course, is using pools, but this is aside the point because I'm trying to teach you to use other resources to get fodder without actually having to go use your rubies, okay, which is something you're trying to earn in the first place. So there's also this which uses honor. Okay, you can use your honor to get 1 to 5 star hero tickets, and these are also pretty much junk for you to level up and get rubies. Okay, so in basically honor, 30 honor for 3 rubies, something like that. Okay, so another thing that you need to note is that when farming, when you are hard grinding in certain maps, for example 710, you need to take note of the fodder variety, okay, because sometimes there are certain maps that don't give a lot of fodder variety, and one of the maps is 710, even though it drops the most gold in Asgard. So other maps such as World 6, for example, it gives more fodder variety in 610. So you have to take note of these things, such that when you do, or even if you do farming, when you do farming, make sure that you alternate between maybe 2 to 3 different worlds, so that you wouldn't have a case whereby you'll be left with a lot of a single type of fodder, and then the system will just replace one at a time. And even if you're not doing auto, you cannot put in 4 of the same kind of fodder to farm. So this is very important, and you need to take note of this. Okay, so with that, we need to move on to our second point. So time is very limited. Okay, I mean, there's no more limited farming, but something is limited, and that is hot time. Hot time is increased rates of certain drops for 4 hours. Okay, so as you can see here, there are so many territories that offer different rate ups for different types of items or fodders or gold or pets. Yeah. Okay, so when should you use hot time? Hot time can be used in any period of the day, as long as you use it when you have the time to farm in the territory that you want to. Okay, so basically what I'm saying is, if you want if you plan to farm for accessories, then use your hot time, go and farm in world 10. Okay, if you were to accidentally farm in world 11, then you just get more items, which is not what you want. So make sure you use these 4 hours effectively to farm the resource that you want to farm. The next thing we want to talk about is actually boost mode. So what is boost mode? So boost mode actually, it shortens, basically for every stage you pass through in adventure, you get a reward, instead of having to go through 3 stages and then get the final reward. So basically it allows you to get a lot of rewards in a much shorter period of time, and you can only use it 100 times a day. So when should you use boost mode? So you should use boost mode when you have very little time in the day to play the game. Maybe you only have 1 hour. Okay, you can use boost mode and get the same amount of rewards you would get in maybe 3 or 4 hours. Yep, so that is the power of boost mode. Okay, however, the cost for boost mode actually is tripled. Okay, tripled from what you usually will use. So do take note of this. My advice would be to use boost mode only in world 1 to 7, because it doesn't eat up too much resource. If you were to go into areas like world 8 and you want to use boost mode in easy difficulty, of course, it costs 6 keys, okay, and the runs are really short, so within a certain period of time you may be using a lot of keys, because in boost mode I think it only takes 2 runs to level up a hero from 1 to 30. So basically in a very short period of time you will be using a lot of keys and a lot of unnecessary usage, because if you do the math, in the second stage you'll be at level 20, starting with level 29, and you're going to use 6 keys just to clear a stage for 1 single level. I don't think that is worth it, in my opinion. So using boost mode in world 8 onwards is not very advisable. So use boost mode only in Asgard if you can. So as I was talking about timing, okay, because because in a hot time you only have 4 hours. So timing is really the third thing that we want to talk about. Timing is all that matters, okay? What you want is to get as many runs as possible in these 4 hours so that you get the best drop rate. You make use of the increased drop rate. And so if you want as many runs as possible in these 4 hours, you need very short runs, right? You need very short runs because you cannot afford to have one long run and then it just eats up time. So this will get me into the 4th point, which is choosing the right farmer and the right map. So I'm going to just insert a whole string of videos here about different farmers, and I know right from the get-go in a lot of basic beginner's guide, like what I mean, Nia is the preferred farmer, and Nia is really good. Nia can get you in a lot of worlds, and I will just throw up an infographic later on after a few videos. Okay, so Nia is really good, but however Nia's animation is very slow. So in light of this, many players have started using alternative heroes for farming, and these are the alternate heroes.
this great sword.
So as you can see, the fastest farmer is Kirill in World 4555, and then this is followed by Jave, Carl, Chancellor, Feng Yan, and Yuri, and then Feng Yan. However, do note that Yuri was frozen, so I think she could actually be much faster. Okay, so with that, you can see that there are quite a number of alternative farmers, and in this infographic that I'm bringing up, you can see that there are more. So just a few things to clarify. As you can see in World 4.5 and 5.10, there's a chance that the DPS can be paralyzed if placed in the front line. However, Kirill is only in 4.5 and not in 5.10. So why is this the case? So I'm just going to bring up two screenshots. As you can see, in World 4.5, the first stage has only 3 enemies, while in World 5.10, the first stage has 5 enemies. Okay, so with given Kirill's basic attack, which hits 2 opponents, she is not able to clear all of the enemies in World 5.10 with her basic attacks. That means she has to use a skill, and if she uses a skill, then in the next stage, the second stage, there's a chance that the enemy will use the paralyzing skill first. So I did not put her as a recommended farmer there. However, in World 4.5, she is able to clear the first stage with her basic attack only. So when she enters the second stage, immediately she will cast her piercing skill and kill off all the enemies. So there's no chance for paralyze. Okay. Similarly, in World 7.10, Feng Yan can be used despite Nox's magic immunity, because if you kill your skill properly, he can actually remove the magic immunity and then hit the Nox. Okay, and he has 2 other piercing skills, so there's no problem there. So another thing to note about the 2-stage flaws is that Kirill is best in those. Okay, Kirill is the best farmer for 2-stage flaws. This is because as long as, okay, there are 2 conditions. As long as the first stage has less than 5 enemies, and you do not need double piercing skills to clear the stages. Okay. So next, now that you have a clearer idea of the better farmers and which world they are better in farming at, the next thing is whether you would want to know, if you want to do auto farming or not. So, of course, I think you should auto farm. I mean, Netmarble plays that this new feature in for a reason. Auto farm saves you a lot of trouble having to manually sub in your fodders for rubies. Okay, so for auto farming, this is the very basic settings that you can put. So you can enable auto replacement, which means you can choose the slots that you want your fodder to be replenished in, and then there's a level heroes up higher than level 30, which means if you have transcendent heroes, they will also be thrown into the replenish slot. They will also be thrown into the slot to be leveled up for you. Sometimes this is helpful because it prolongs your run. It prolongs your farming, and thereby you can actually collect more fodder along the way. And then so when you run out of keys, the next setting actually causes the system to purchase keys with 100 rubies. This one, so you actually get 110 keys for 100 rubies. So because you need keys for farming, so this is a continuous resource of keys. And then lastly is the exit adventure when there are no more heroes. I would advise you to take this as well. This is because from personal experience, there was once I forgot to take this, so I had no more fodders to level up, and instead the farming kept going on through the night, and I spent about 400 rubies just on keys and not getting any rubies back. Okay, so if you do not want to do auto farming, so there's no auto replacement, then you have the final settings for normal auto adventure. Okay, so it's basically auto repeat. So you can take all these, and depending on what you want, when to stop adventure from going on. Okay, yeah, so you can just, this is if you do not do auto replacement. So next we'll talk about NIA'S adventure package. So this is a question that a lot of players have, whether it is worth it to actually buy NIA'S adventure package. If you do use NIA'S adventure package, you get the auto sell and auto power up functions, and this is very helpful because it helps you clean your inventory, get rid of 1 to 2 star fodders by feeding them to higher star heroes. That said, you do require a number of higher star heroes, 3 star and above, because without them then your fodder will have nowhere to go and they will still clog up your inventory as per normal. Yeah, so hence you do need maybe some space for buffering this, so that you can get enough 1 to 2 star fodders and enough to to be fed to your 3 star and above heroes. However, if you do not use NIA'S adventure package and you do not get the auto sell and auto power up, which means your inventory is going to store up a lot of fodder. So if you do not use this, then you need to have a lot of space, maybe 80 to 100 slots or even more. However, not using NIA'S adventure package does give you more control over which hero you want to choose to power up. And of course, you may not want to use NIA'S adventure package for reasons because you do not actually have that long, you do not actually farm that long. So you're just paying 500 rupees for a little bit of farming each day, which is not worth it in that sense. So I would say that use NIA'S adventure package if you feel that you can farm for quite some time, and it actually does help you relieve the pressure of you having to keep going back to manually do the powering up yourself. Okay, however, if you feel that you can, given your play style, you can actually keep going back to the game, then maybe you do not need NIA'S adventure package. Yep, so this is actually all for my farming guide. I hope it has been very useful for you, and if it has, please like and subscribe to my channel, and I will definitely be posting more useful videos for your reference in future. So thank you, and I'll see you in my next video.